Now I'm talking to the one person that's sitting at home saying, my vote doesn't matter. What's going to happen is going to happen. None of it matters. Your vote doesn't count. I hear really smart people saying things like, after this election in 4 years, you're going to hear, hey, this is the most important election of our lifetime. And it's going to be the same thing. And the problem with that thinking is, let's go back to Y2K. They were making a huge deal out of Y2K. But everybody said, oh, this is going to be huge. It's going to, the whole world's going to shut down, planes are going to fall out of the sky, and it was horrible. Well, they had been pushing that narrative. However, at the same time, they were getting help. It was a monumental effort to put into place safeguards that made sure Y2K wasn't what it was supposed to be. Billions of dollars were spent to update systems to ensure that when that clock turned over, everything kind of just went along as it was supposed to. So you had people out there, they bought tons of supplies. They were preparing for the end of the world. A lot of people were. And then nothing happened. And everybody joked about it. Everybody said, oh my gosh, everybody overreacted. They didn't overreact. If all the effort wasn't put into ensuring those systems didn't do what they said they were going to do when the clock turned over, everything would have gone sideways. So when people say things like, oh my gosh, here we go again, this is the most important election of our lifetime, we hear it every 4 years. If Hillary Clinton would have won in 2016, we would have nuked or been nuked by someone. We would absolutely be at war in Syria. We would absolutely be at war with North Korea. Everything the media was telling you that Trump was going to do would have been done if Hillary would have won. Your vote matters. Don't listen to the people that are, I call them pragmatists. I used to be a fan of pragmatism. Very little room for pragmatists because they don't think beyond 2 or 3 steps in front of them. And they really don't look behind them. Everything's just going to be okay. Everything's going to continue on the way it is. Indifference. How people are so indifferent. Like, whatever. My vote doesn't count. Your vote doesn't count. What the heck, man? If I really thought like that, I would have been dead long ago because the revolution started in 1775 and it still continues today. And we have to fight. You have to vote. That's your weapon. Vote. And for people to try to convince you that your vote doesn't matter. And I'm telling you right now, tonight, election night, you're going to hear something called the Red Mirage. And what the Red Mirage is, the Democrats were so expecting the mail-in voting to be so huge. It was going to discourage people from voting in person, and it was going to, push people to vote by mail. When they got all those ballots in by mail and saw that Biden wasn't really ahead that much, then they had to start backtracking. They had to start thinking, okay, how are we going to explain tens of millions of people showing up at polling places voting for Trump when we've been telling them for 3.5 years that he's a puppet of Russia, that he is not fit to be the president, the commander-in-chief? How are we going to explain this? How are the polls going to be able to explain, hey, we were wrong again? I saw one, Nate Silver, who's saying that, yeah, there's no chance that Trump will win. And then he came out and said, after the Butler rally, where there's 57,000 people shows up, now he's saying that if Trump gets Pennsylvania, then he has a 50-50 shot. Everybody's hedging their bets because they know this has never happened before. Trump is making Reagan look like an unpopular president. When you hear Red Mirage, know that they're trying to prepare you for all kinds of their contingencies, which is, they're going to challenge the crap out of this because they were depending on those mail-in ballots, whether real or not. They were depending on those mail-in ballots to kind of, erase any kind of gain that Trump would make at the polling booth. Go vote. Your vote matters. It's very important. Please go vote. You'll only have yourself to blame if the turnout at the polls was low. From what I'm seeing online, it ain't low. There are huge lines. So go vote. Your vote matters.